So, Gary,
Yes, sir.
I think the first time I met you was when I was playing at the Grove.
Okay.
And to be really honest, I did not know who you were.
Ah,
And I was standing next to you, I was playing third or fourth trumpet. And I was standing next to you, and it's like, and it's like, man, this is what a killer drummer.
I had you fooled that day. I had you fooled.
And then, I think Neil told me, your background and who you were. And I was like, oh my God, here I am in the presence of greatness. And so thank you for being here. And I just wanted to ask you about your time with Chick's band.
Sure.
When did you leave Chick's band?
I left in the end of 97.
And when did you start playing?
92.
92.
Yeah.
So I grew up, I had a band when I was younger in South Germany. And we grew up listening to Chick's electric band,
Sure.
Pat Metheny, the Yellow Jackets and all that. And when the electric band came out, we were all like, oh my God, this is brand new.
Yeah, sure.
The Weckl on drums and all that.
I remember it well.
Yeah. And then I moved on. I moved to the United States and kind of lost track, moved on to other things. And here you are. Can you tell me about your time with Chick Corea's band?
Well, yeah. Sure. I mean, how long do you got? But it's I played in two different groups with Chick. I played when I originally got the job. It was an acoustic quartet with John Patitucci, Chick Corea, and Bob Berg, and myself. It was interesting because Steve Gadd was the drummer in that band, and he had decided to go do something with Clapton. Mm-hmm. So when I auditioned for the electric band and got that job, the gig actually wasn't starting for like 6 or 7 months because he had all this commitment with this quartet, the Friends band. And when Steve had that conflict, Chick was like, hey man, why don't we start playing right now? You want to do this, come and fill in with this band, the quartet, the acoustic quartet. So when I started playing with him, it was all acoustic jazz. And it's kind of funny. We only did one electric band record and we did one long world tour. But my entire tenure with Chick was mostly the acoustic quartet. Yeah. We recorded a record called Time Warp. I think they re-released it recently. But, so most of my time playing with Chick was mostly acoustic music, which is great.
See?
For me personally.
That's why I wanted to ask you a few questions, because that background is just priceless, And then I was wondering about your, let's say, like top 3 musical moments in your career, besides today's recording, obviously.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say definitely Chick's band, playing in that quartet night after night with musicians on an improvisational level such as that. I've never really, in a jazz setting, felt so comfortable ever. Like you could do anything, you could just go like this and everybody else makes you sound great. You don't have to work very hard when you're playing with musicians on that level. I would say that quartet, Alan Holsworth with Dave Carpenter and myself.
True.
That was a great band that I really miss. And Bob Berg's quartet with a pianist in New York by the name of David Kokoski and a bass player named Ed Howard. We were a band for a good 10, 11 years. So those are kind of like my 3 real, at least in my memory, and my finest experiences.
Made you grow as a drummer.
Absolutely. There's been other, I don't mean to slight other gigs that I've been on, but those were the most open to do whatever you feel.
Yeah. Okay. My last interest in or question I want to ask you is I've seen you in many musical environments now.
Sure.
I saw it with Adam Hirsch.
Sure.
With the trio.
Great young talent.
At the Sound Room in Oakland. I saw you playing with you in a big band setting, so straight ahead swing. Yeah. Then I've seen you with who else? Well, obviously I looked at videos with Chick's band. So you're one of the most versatile drummers And then the blues session.
Oh, right.
That just happened. You know,
Sure.
it's like, so this guy can play with anybody, anytime, in any style, and elevate the band. You know, and today the same thing. You know,
That's
you're
nice
just
of you to say.
elevating everything effortlessly.
Well-
You know, and I've been looking. This project really is about drummers that play at the highest level of the craft or craftsmanship. You know, and that's why I asked you. It's like, man, this guy fits in seamlessly into any musical situation that you're being involved in. Can you expand on your not preferences and styles, but how do you get into different styles?
You know, it's funny, man. When you live in Los Angeles and you start becoming involved in the studio scene, you know, we get asked to do lots of different things, but I think the main goal is you have to enjoy it, because if you don't enjoy the music that you're going to play, it sounds like you're faking it. You know, I embrace a lot of different styles of music. You know, I've done a lot of rock and roll in my life as well. You know, oh yeah, very much so. You know, and it's hard to fake it. There are things that I don't think I'm super strong. You know, I wouldn't consider myself a great big band drummer at all. I can emulate those guys, but it's not something I do all the time. You know, I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, I've spent enough time listening to it where you can kind of emulate it, but I wouldn't. You know, in a city like Los Angeles, there's some pretty great guys that's their bag. You know, but I think that it's about embracing it and enjoying it. If you can bring that joy and kind of emotion to the music, it'll sound legitimate. If you're doing something that your head's not in it, it's obvious. Yeah. You know, I mean, for a minute there, I was more of a jazz musician, but then I spent a good 15 years in the rock and roll world, and I didn't even play jazz at all. You know, so it's kind of a, you know, kind of an interesting little left turn there, but you know, life's too short not to enjoy a lot of different styles of food, you know, music, art, all kinds of different things. You know, if you close yourself off and you have one vision,
I really agree with that.
you know, I mean, at this point in my life, you know, at 55, I really like playing acoustic jazz trio music. It's my favorite setting.
And you got a great trio there, man.
Yeah, I'm proud of it. We have a record coming out this year, so
Sounded fabulous, man.
Adam's a good composer.
Me as a horn player, you know, I like to hear a horn. You know, it's like a piano trio for me is always like, am I gonna get bored?
Yeah.
You know, and I was not bored 1 minute.
Right.
It's
Beautiful music.
Yeah, beautiful music.
Yeah.
And I saw oh my God, Chris, what's her name? New York, Chris. Oh man, I'm blanking out. Chris, not Johnson. She's a female piano player. I went to the Vanguard,
Okay.
and they played for 20 minutes, and there was a piece of paper on the piano. And after 20 minutes, she took up the mic and said, "So that was our first tune."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "What's on this page?" You know. So they were just like all over the place, man. It was beautiful. It was arranged. It was like memorized stuff, you know. And I was not bored either. So
Right.
the piano trio for me, I had to revise my
Sure.
opinion about the piano trio. You know. So it was, but your trio there is phenomenal, very beautiful.
He's a talented kid.
Yeah.
Adam Hirsch.
Yeah,
Man. I think
Adam
he's
Hirsch. Yeah.
and that bass player is very good too, Max Girl.
Yeah, I like it.
You know, he's the next crew. You know,
Yeah.
next guys.
Yeah.
You know, they're
I hear you, man. They're pushing hard, man.
Yes, they are.
You have to stay on top of your game all the time.
there's a
And
bunch of
they
fine.
make me practice.
Yes.
the young guys.
There's a bunch of fine young players in this town. You know, there's the next crew is definitely
Yeah.
coming in. You know,
That's okay, man. You pass the torch. And,
yeah, try to.
You know. Anyways, thank you so much, man. That was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries, man. Glad
Okay.
it worked out.